Graffiti is art or vandalism. Anthony Lister spent 3 months painting a mural in the valley, only to watch it be wiped out by a council clean-up crew in a matter of minutes.
It's literally something that if you has an impact on yourself, something illegal or others,
But now, if you take a dog onto a golf course and your dog gets hit with the ball, it's not the cameraman's fault.
Yeah, we're going to go. I'm going to sit and arrest him. You can do it right.
For over 20 years, the various state and regional governments of Australia have waged war on illegal street art and graffiti to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money each year, most of it spent on eradication and prevention programs. Lister likens the loss of public art to cultural genocide, yet despite this, Australia has become one of the world's street art capitals. While the practice itself is considered one of the greatest domestic art movements in the nation's history.
The Australian-born painter and installation artist has also had his artworks hanging in the homes of celebrities and galleries around the world. Anthony says it makes no difference for him who sees his work, as long as it's seen without censorship.
Have permission to do your art on walls, on buildings' walls?
I'm a public interventionist, I'm a freedom fighter.
Wherever you are, there you are as a human, but as a graffiti or street artist, wherever you've been, there you are. That's how our time comes.
Stick your tongue out or something.
I have a bunch of kids. They travel with me when they can. We've lived in Italy, and they lived with me in New York. They've lived in London before. It's interesting. They're artists themselves. They're wondering where their show is.
Graffiti is artistic.
I'm going to point out the gift of having a magic hand. Realizing that it doesn't actually matter the materials that he's using, but from a spray can to a Sharpie and to the house paint, he can actually pull off this some sort of energy with his hand, and sometimes his subject matter isn't as strong as others, but I think that Anthony Lister's hand is definitely hands down very magical.
Many years ago in Brisbane, he was paid to actually do a wall, and then when he finished the wall, the council just basically wiped everything off the wall. So last week, funnily enough, the council itself asked him and paid one of the first times that happened, and he sneaked in this character in the kind of bottom left of the guy rebuffing the painting like he did many years before. And the council didn't like that, so they left the wall but censored the guy that was pre-painting the wall. And it's funny because in a way everybody in the country's got the issue with street art, but they're also trying to understand that it's happening, so you might as well facilitate the situation, but there's still censorship and there's still someone that gets a bit touchy when you make a little bit ironic statement. But street art is not decoration. Street art has got something to say.
Melissa Leo, reporting for thewest.com.au.
Bullshit.
Well, you really freaked me out with that whole, I just got fucking raided and they took my phone shit.
Never been busted, which is good for me. And, but there's been many a chase, and there was a time when I did evade the law and ended up in someone's backyard. Cut a long story short, was up on a roof and went to get off and fell off, and
The friend said to me, "You draw. Of course, you'll survive."
And that's exactly what I think. And you know, when I'm talking about drawing, I'm not necessarily talking about the rendering of realistic objects. I'm talking about the power of expression, that individual mark making. There is something really, and I can counsel you with this in Johnny's work. The closer it gets, the more intimate it becomes.
When I'm painting ballerinas, I may as well be painting strippers because I'm drawing relationships between highbrow and lowbrow culture and trying to extinguish the idea of judgment system. I figure the only difference between a stripper and a ballerina is a ballerina doesn't take her clothes off.
I'm not an art critic. I don't really know a lot about art itself, but I think what you're doing with that is really going out of the comfort zone, going out of the comfort zone and painting something that will confront people, which is fantastic. Maggie, come over here. Come and have your photo taken.
Sydney quarantine. An Australian artist living in New York has arrived at the border with a suitcase full of suspect items that he hasn't declared.
You're saying you have wood. There's a reason you didn't say yes to wooden articles? I didn't know they sent any wood. I thought it was about wasn't it?
When Officer Andrew searches his bags, he finds a large number of paintings and artworks made with wood.
They're all coated in resin. Yeah, it's more the back that we're interested in because it's open to that. These works are from New York where I live these days, and I'm having a show in Sydney like I do sort of every year. And these works here just are paintings that I've been working on lately. As you can see, this is a sort of work.
If there is any sign of borer or disease, the items may have to be treated or destroyed. And with an exhibition in a few days, it could be in real trouble.
You know, I can't believe you got chicken wire and no chickens.
We want to create. That's all we want to do. Come on, do it.
In the past, Anthony's street art movement has included legal and illegal graffiti in Australia, Europe, and the USA.
You know, this thing's cost me everything. Like, I go to jail for this thing. You know, I run for this thing. And you know, the environment changes in such that, like, in one city I'll be paid thousands of dollars and put up in fancy hotels and meet celebrities for doing what I do. In other cities, I'm on the run and hiding for doing the same thing in the same environment.
Anthony Lester, that's art.
It's ugly and expensive. This street corner in Highgate Hill is a constant target for taggers. This one is less than a week old.
The council was coming and cleaning up, but sometimes we have to, if they stay too long like this, you don't like it to see your places like that, so we have to do it.
New laws will force culprits as young as 12 to get their hands dirty cleaning it up.
We want you to get out in the hot sun, we want you to put on a pair of gloves, and we want you to clean up after yourself.
In Brisbane alone, ratepayers have spent $15 million over the last 4 years cleaning graffiti. The government will now give the money to pay people to supervise the juvenile offenders.
We need to do all that we can to create a disincentive for these young people to undertake these acts.
The state government is hoping to pass these laws in August. The courts can then start forcing juveniles to clean up graffiti like this.
No, we like that idea.
Get out, don't touch anyone. Don't touch anyone.
Those cops got in a jail for doing 5.5 years and got recruited by the movie people to tell them about me, right? And if a copper and a cook gets caught in the garage over a stolen lawnmower, the cook says, "Oh, I'm going to buy a stolen lawnmower off the copper," and the copper says, "That bloke's my police informer," and that's the way the copper gets out of it. If he's caught with a criminal, he says the criminal's this police fucking informer.
London, though he has had his share of tussle with the law, painting dozens of walls both legally and illegally. Dropping a car crushed by a giant painted boulder in the middle of a roundabout in Sydney's exclusive Rocks district was not authorised by the owner. The police were called and Lister fled the state. His friend, however, was nabbed by police and threatened with being an accessory to willful damage of property, a charge that carries a maximum term of 5 years. Lister came out swinging in response, even making an appearance on the breakfast television show Sunrise. There I am on TV and the guy from The Price is Right or some shit is saying how pretty it all looks, and my friend is under house arrest. I felt terrible, he tells me today. The artwork was promptly painted over by authorities in what is but one of a dozen or so examples of Lister's work being buffed around the country.
Donegan at the same doorway, right? And when Tommy Donegan got to the fucking doorway, Nick just fucking knocked him straight fucking out with one punch, right? And just left him there on the fucking carpet, right? So that's all fucking bullshit about how tough fucking Tommy Donegan is. Tommy Donegan is a fucking waste of fucking time if you're fucking
The practice itself is considered one of the greatest domestic art movements in the nation's history.
Graffiti Reduction Unit didn't think so. They painted over it less than 48 hours after artist Anthony Lister finished the mural. He'd been commissioned by the building's owner.
This is an internationally recognised Brisbane artist living in New York. And he's embarrassed, ashamed and angry.
It took Anthony Lister 3 days to paint the wall and he's furious. He's demanding the council apologise and cover his costs. In an email from New York, he says, "Sorry doesn't give me back my sweating in the sun for 3 days, my aching muscles, hundreds of dollars in time and materials, and the intense emotional loss. I'm disappointed and embarrassed. All my hard work has gone to waste."
Yesterday at 4:55 p.m. Hey, bro. I want to get to the bottom of what that shit is, because that's kind of getting a little bit personal. And, I don't know, bro. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be that guy in the middle and look after you. But, if you're going to come at me like that, bro, I'm going to come at you probably fucking 15 times as hard. So fucking either call me back in the next 10 minutes or go buy a fucking helmet.
Interesting. And how available actually are you for Mr. Lister?
I'm unemployed, so fairly free.
I did that when I was a kid. I spat in the cop's face, punched him in the face, my bleeding knuckle cut his mouth, and like bleeding hand, bleeding mouth, and he's like beating me in the cells, and I'm telling him, "Dude, I've got hep C." Like, he's like, came in, "Have you got any infectious diseases?" And I'm like, no, nothing infectious, it's just hep C. He just, I'm cuffed, and he went out, got riot gear, and came in and just threw me in the cell. Like,
appalled to understand that somebody had placed such an importance on, this rock star art.
Really upset to hear that Anthony's name was used in relation to this.
I've been crying for hours, and my friends are taking me to the polo today because they know me, and I'm a fashion blogger, and I have a lot of friends in Perth, and
With draftsman skills likened to Brett Whiteley and a creative output that exceeds Picasso, he's sold out shows in every of the world's major art hubs, from Milan to London, New York, and of course here in Australia. His work can be found on the walls of everyone from Geoffrey Rush to Pink and Hugh Jackman, but at around 15 to 20k a piece, they don't come cheap. Unless you're a member of the Australian public, that is, in which case you get all of his best stuff for free. For of course, Lister is a street artist.
How you going? How's your artwork going?
Oh, it's good. I'm really busy.
Yeah? Have you been overseas again?
Yeah, mate. I'm getting dragged all over the place.
Yeah. I like the way you go overseas, and you say you've done a tour of Rome and Italy and New York and.
Yeah. Do you vote? Have you ever just written your vote on the wall, like I hate this government or something?
No.
Well,
I use my vote. I've got a right to vote.
You do have a right to vote. Do you think you have a right to vote every day?
Yes.
How do you think you activate that right to vote every day?
Well, only when an election comes up there, but to get the opportunity.
Well, I mean, it's almost like someone saying you can only play soccer when the park's open, and they keep the park closed for 364 days of a year.
Oh, yeah, but you can't expect to have an election every day of the year.
What if I said that you could have an election every day of the year?
No, because when are the politicians actually going to do their work?
Well, they'll just get... Yeah, well, what work are they really doing? Too much cleaning and not enough making, I reckon. Alright, very good.
Come to council with the property owner who said, A, I am commissioning an object of urban art, and B, I give my full permission for it to happen, and C, they said they were paying either in cash or kind. I would have no problem with that.
In 2010, the Brisbane City Council turned on Lister, buffing one of his works in a vacant lot despite it having been approved by the property's owner. The loss to the community was estimated to be in the tens of thousands of dollars, prompting Brisbane City Councillor David Hinchcliffe, the man who originally gave Lister the job painting the electrical boxes, to break rank and criticise his own staff. I can't understand why council would leave tags that are on public property and yet go into private property without the owner's permission, without any contact with the owner, and remove something that is clearly not a tag but a work of art. Lister too struggled with destructive bouts as a teenager. It's stifling to come from such a sterile environment, to live in one you don't understand how beautiful things can be, you know? It was just as fun for me to squish up clay and throw it at walls or just completely destroy classrooms. Because there is an angst that goes with growing up in a place like that, when you can't be creative and find other ways to do it. It's often either destructive or violent, he says.
It's in your face, it's confronting, it's pornographic. I think it's just magnificent.
And usually when I do paintings like that, I'm trying to break art, and I'm trying to break, I'm trying to hurt, my own feelings. I'm trying to challenge what I would hang on my own wall. I love it too.
Taken by the people that were there anyway, man. Like I'm proud that I am doing what I'm doing, and I don't recommend to anybody to stand near me while I'm painting. I told them to be careful.
Viewed in this context, Lister's approach to street art has been cunning for an artist who, since the age of 22, has used his discipline to provide for 3 children and a partner. There's no question that exhibiting in public has been an effective way to create hype. Where do I stand? I don't stand. I'm floating in an ambiguous bubble of contradictions. The school that suspended me up until last week of Year 12 has a photo of me in their office under successful students. The irony is just paramount. So what's the difference? How do you decide which is art and which is graffiti? And who decides?
I feel graffiti is the final frontier of true artistic integrity. I asked the graffiti task force if they have permission, or even do they have a degree in art in order to distinguish what is art and what isn't art.
Why is your art so
I think the justice system isn't actually just us, it's just them, and they're hating.
So you talk about who's making the law. So what do you say to people who might be offended by your street art?
Well, I mean...
For example, visual, some people might consider it to be visual pollution.
Sure, well, I mean, I consider many things visual pollution, including most advertising and verbal pollution. I feel there's far too much cleaning going on and far too little making.
Why is your art so
I believe in what I'm doing. Everything outside of that
so
is...
you consider yourself a modern-day Michelangelo?
I consider myself a freedom fighter, fighting for the freedom of visual speech. I don't think my children's faces should have to be raped by Coca-Cola
So you
billboards
talk
on the
about,
road.
who's making the laws. Why don't you feel that you have to abide by the laws that are there?
Well, the just us system isn't just us, it's just them.
Okay.
I don't know if many of you have been to Brisbane, even 10 years ago. It's a pretty clean city, it's a pretty straight joint. And when an artist starts making an impact in a public space, it ends up having quite a large impact. And Anthony has gone on to have a major impact around the world. He is right up there working with everybody around this planet, and that takes an incredible amount of dedication and hard work.
Alright, not happy, Jan?
Why am I here then? Why am I here so
don't know
early?
why you're here. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything.
Alright, I'm going to have to call her.
The owners of this are not happy at all. Unless something's been done in the background without his knowledge, but he's the curator of the art. All the art
of my work?
All the public art installations.
Is he familiar with that they've been in contact and all that?
No, doesn't know anything about it. It's private property and
Right.
not happy.
Alright, now let me call Nina. Jesus Christ, alright. What's your last name, son?
My name's...
I've gone and painted that rock that's sitting right in the middle of that car. Down near that bridge, near the harbour bridge. And I told them that you authorised it. Just say that like, I don't know, mistake or something. Well, they apparently call the person whose artwork it is. And they've gone, oh, no, it's not authorised, some shit. So.
Graffiti artist is seeing red this morning after one of his masterpieces was removed by the Brisbane Council. Anthony Lister spray painted a self-portrait in a city alleyway earlier this month, but acting on a complaint, the council sent in a clean-up crew to remove it. Lister's contemporary works have been sold for upwards of 20 grand elsewhere. And Anthony Lister joins me now from the site of one of his other works in Sydney. Morning to you, Anthony. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, my pleasure.
The council argues that you spray painted this particular work on private property without seeking permission from the building owner, and therefore that makes it vandalism. What do you say about why it should stay?
Well, I mean, there's no question whether it can stay or not because it's already gone. You know, the council clean-up crews will run around and cleaning up everything they touch, thinking that they know what art is and what art isn't. You know, they don't have a degree to do this. It's you know, they're killing culture, they're wasting money. They're wrecking lives.
It does seem like a pretty crummy laneway, quite beautified by the work. I'm not sure why the owner wanted it removed. Nonetheless, you know, this is a gift you gave to the city, but you know, you can't always determine what people are going to do with gifts, can you?
Yeah, well, they definitely looked this horse in the mouth. You know, when it comes to what building owners want or not, a lot of the time building owners don't have a say in what stays or what goes. Things just get cleaned off. You know, the city's constantly being shut down. The creativity's being shut down. Kids are in jail right now. Kids, you know, men my own age are in jail right now for acts of creativity, and I think it's shocking.
Anthony, you've got street art all over the world. How often do your works get removed?
Well, I'm happy to say not as often as I put them up. But they do get removed, and it's just the nature of the sport. It's not bronze. It's gonna everything's undercoat for something else in the future. It's just as long as we keep painting rather than destroying. There's too much cleaning and not enough making going on a film.
Yeah, all right, Anthony. Well, thanks very much for joining us. I should mention that Anthony's soul works to pink. Hugh Jackman, Jeffrey Rush, to name just a few. Thanks for being with us this morning. Over to you, Sam.
And I ended up actually bumping into the arresting officer, the one that charged me yesterday. And he was real friendly to me. So I'm gonna try and befriend this guy and make a friend with someone on the other side and see if I can fucking convince one person in the graffiti task force to understand us. If I get through to one person in that graffiti task force, maybe that's an avenue to change,
I don't want to know any of them. I don't know why you're panting, but I would advise against that.
Sorry creature back to a normal. Help that son. Nevertheless, I feel it's my duty not only to catch it, but with all the medical know-how at our command, to help that sorry creature back to a normal way of life.
Because I lost your address last time.
No, yeah, I moved too much.
Yeah, okay. Well, give me your new address. I've got that. You can text it to me, have you?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Okay, all right.
Good, mate. All right.
And if it comes up on my phone,
yeah.
If I can retrieve it out of my phone, I'll send you something in the next couple of days.
Yeah, me too.
And if not, will you send me something? You write your return address on the back of whatever you send me, and I'll send you something that night.
Good.
Okay.
All right. Talk soon, mate.
2023.
Got it.
Okay, good on you, mate. Take
all right.
care.
Talk soon. All right. Bye, then.
See you later, Anthony. Bye-bye.
See you, Chopper.